The new Dragon Ball Z Sparking Zero released recently, and you know what that means. Time to play all the DBZ games on the GBA. Let's start with Supersonic Warriors, since it's a straight up fighter like the new release. I had this game as a kid, and it was a great game. It had a large roster of DBZ characters, and had the entire DBZ storyline, along with cool what if scenarios that were interesting. The actual fighting was good too. With just 2 face buttons, they did a good job at the controls. You can charge up, do weak attacks, strong attacks, change characters, perform special moves by pressing R with A and B, and other combos too. There was a battle mode and a practice and a multiplayer mode. There was also a sequel on the DS that upped the ante on Supersonic Warriors and added special moves using character combinations. But why don't we take a look at something a little different, huh? A Dragon Ball Z card game for the GBA. Dragon Ball Z collectible card game. A game true to the DBZ card games of the time. It plays exactly like the card games. Unfortunately, it didn't translate well into a video game. The gameplay is slow, and just when you think, alright, attack time, let's see the animations. A flashing light. Wow. I can't play it, sorry, I'd rather play the actual card game. And it's a good thing I have some old DBZ cards from back in the day. Well, they're not from the exact card game, but they're from another card set. The company who made this game, Infogrames, made another card game on the Game Boy Color, which I also have, and in my opinion is a better game. Simpler graphics, yes, but a lot more animations, and it's a funner game with an overworld map. It was a bit difficult though, if I recall. I could never beat Kid Buu. Alright, next game. Ah! Whew, that was a close one. Next up is a Dragon Ball Adventure. Yeah, it's not a Dragon Ball Z game, but when I said Dragon Ball Z, I meant anything in the Dragon Ball universe, come on now. An expensive game, and a hidden gem if you will. It's a really fun game covering the Dragon Ball story. It's a side-scrolling beat-em-up with some rail-shooting levels and fighting boss battles that are actually quite advanced. And the game turns into a 2D fighter in these fights. It has a lot of mechanics and moves, and a nice break from playing the Dragon Ball Z story for the millionth time. Just like in the next game, Dragon Ball GT Transformed. Another beat-em-up, and this one was just a beat-em-up exclusively. And when I first played it, I was disappointed. But it was my own fault, because when I first saw the game at a KB Toys as a 2-in-1 pack with Boo's Fury as a kid, I instantly thought it was Legacy of Goku 4 with a GT storyline. The game itself is a fun, quick beat-em-up game. The graphics are nice for the GBA, and I really like the music. But it was GT. Rock music was its thing. And yes, I know GT isn't canon anymore and people hate it, but this game came out in like 2005 or 2006 for the 2-pack, the time when Dragon Ball GT English dub had just finished airing in the US. So we had nothing else after Z at the time, unless you count Dragon Ball AF. GT Transformation went up to Baby Vegeta, and you even fight his Great Ape form, and it mostly has the first arc with Trunks and Pam gathering the Black Star Dragon Balls. Fighting games, beat-em-up games, a card game, and finally, the RPG Dragon Ball Z games on the GBA. The Legacy of Goku series. Listen, just a warning, but I am biased towards these games. They were some of my favorite games on the GBA. Legacy of Goku 3 is right up there with Pokemon Emerald. The first game covered up to the Frieza saga, and the games are RPGs, specifically action RPGs, or maybe adventure RPGs. You explore the Dragon Ball Z world in a top-down view and fight enemies found in the Dragon Ball Z universe like wolves and squirrels. You can fly around for a brief moment. Okay, so the first game was a bit raw, very raw, but the following 2 entries added to the games. Legacy of Goku 2 went up to the Cell saga and added playable characters and improved the graphics. These were huge open world games on a small system, and the music in these games have been stuck in my head for the last 20 years. The RPG mechanics change up the usual fighting or beat-em-up games from the Dragon Ball franchise, and you can customize your character's clothing and accessories to change their stats. You can perform lots of moves and turn Super Saiyan. The graphics look simple, but they worked on the GBA systems. Boo's Fury follows the Buu saga from Dragon Ball Z, and it continues from the Legacy of Goku 2. I know it doesn't have the Legacy of Goku in the title, but it's the 3rd entry in the series. I play this game about once a year. I replayed it recently actually, since I featured it in the wireless adapter video. There's more playable characters here now. Goten and Trunks join the party, and this game even has fusion. You can fuse into Gotenks and even Gogeta. The entire Buu saga is here, along with side stories like Janemba. It's a big open world, and you fly around the map and find secret locations. You can find Easter eggs and unlock extra characters. In terms of the story, you can't beat the Legacy of Goku games on the GBA. The music, the atmosphere, the Majin Vegeta scene where he sacrifices himself, and the Game Boy Advance sprites graphics, final battle with Kid Buu where Goku kills him with the Spirit Bomb. If you're a fan of Dragon Ball Z, surely this is the one to play on the GBA. And the only flaw? There wasn't a 4th release. Now there is a fan-made Legacy of Goku sequel called Legacy of Goku Reborn for the PC, but I think the game hasn't been updated anymore, but it does show the following the series has. Dragon Ball Z is one of the biggest franchises in the world, and the GBA had a good library. They would make a great addition to the Nintendo Switch Online. But I guess for now we wait. So I'm off, in Dragon Ball Z style. Flying Nimbus! Luckily, I'm pure of heart so I can ride the Flying Nimbus.